Hello, and welcome to my January TBR/2021 goals. Hard to believe that we're in 2021 and the 2020 is finally over, eh? For January, I have an overly ambitious TBR. It's probably more books than I read in the last 3 months of 2020 combined. I really doubt I will get to all of them, but I will try. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive on in. First, I want to read Fugitive Telemetry by Martha Wells. This is the next novella in the Murderbot Diaries series, set to come out in April of 2021. The next book is Hair of the Ninth by Tamson Muir. I am almost done with this. I have about 60 pages left, and I just need to find time when my children aren't trying to kill each other to sit down and finish it. Next on this list is another arc, and that is A History of What Comes Next by Sylvan Nugel. This is a sci-fi historical fiction involving World War II and somebody trying to prevent it, and that's about all I remember of the summary, and I'm too lazy to go find the book and tell you more about what it's about, but here you go. I don't remember when this one comes out, but I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of the month, because I think it comes out fairly soon. I do plan on continuing my Wheel of Time read through. I will be moving on to book 2, which is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. I have this both as an ebook and an audiobook, and I'm excited to see what happens next. I am doing dedicated reading vlogs for all of my read-throughs of these. The first one should be up later this week. Once I finish editing it, because it became a lot longer than I meant it to. Next on this list is The Burning God by Rf Kwong. This is the final book in the Poppy War trilogy. I have a very complicated relationship with this series because I appreciate what all the author has done and I understand why so many people like it, but I am not generally a fan of grimdark books, and this is no exception. It really just depresses me, and I'm gonna finish the series because they're really quick reads, and the author is a fantastic author. I just will be glad when I'm done with this series. The next book is another sequel, which is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book in the First Law trilogy. I really enjoyed the first one last month and plan on continuing it this month. After that, I want to branch kind of into literary fiction. Part of my goal for 2021 is to read more books that aren't sci-fi and fantasy, and this one is Bestiary by Km Chang. I don't remember what this one's about. It's supposed to be kind of like a bunch of fairy tales as well as feminist stories set in Taiwan, I believe, and it follows a lot of their mythology, and I believe it's about mothers and daughters. The next on this list is another literary fiction book, and that is This Close to OK by Lisa Cross-Smith. I picked this one up from Book of the Month. I occasionally get books from them. It is about a therapist who saves somebody from jumping off a bridge, and then they have a really long, in-depth conversation one night, and stuff apparently happens. The next one on this list is one that's been gaining in popularity, and that is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is definitely a fantasy one with lots of complex world building and magic systems, and I'm very bad at knowing what books are about before I go into them, apparently. After that, there is Devil in the Dark Water by Stewart Turton. I generally don't read mystery books. However, this author's other mystery book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, really blew me away, and I really appreciated the mystery elements to it, which is very, very, very rare for me in books, and it was one of the few mysteries that I did not figure out, like, within the first 50 pages of the book, and the plot twist at the end, like, blew my mind, and I loved it. And I've heard that this book is very, very similar in, like, nature to that, and while there were some problematic elements in 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, I am still very, very excited to pick this one up. After that, last year I went down a teenage angst rabbit hole and read the entirety of the Twilight Saga, but I didn't get the chance to read Midnight Sun because I couldn't get it from the library, and I was refusing to spend money on it, and it finally came through at the library, so I will be picking that up at some point this month. I am prepared for sheer boredom and banging my head against the wall and asking why I decided to read it in the first place, but hey, you know, life of a booktuber, I guess. The next book is a reread for me. I read the first one in the series, which is the City of Brass series, 3 years ago. Absolutely loved it. Was not as big of a fan of Kingdom of Copper as I was of City of Brass. But the third one came out and my friend got it for me for Christmas, so I figured I would reread the entire series and give it another go. Maybe I'll like Kingdom of Copper more this year than I did the first time I read it. The next book is yet another sequel. A lot of sequels this time around, and that is the next book in the Expanse series, which is Km Chang by James S.A. Corey. I really enjoyed the first book and I'm eager to see where this goes next, and hopefully finish this series at some point this year. And then finally on this list is my nonfiction of the month, is Burning Down the House, the story of punk rock and the fall of the Berlin Wall. I absolutely adore books about punk rock. Like, one of my favorite books is The Oral History of Punk Rock, which is called Please Kill Me, or Kill Me Now. I think it's Please Kill Me. So, now that I've mentioned a couple of things that I want to mentioned a couple of goals that I've been thinking about, I figured I'd sit down and talk to you about the goals. And rather than do a separate video for this, I figured I'd just kind of combine it all in one. As far as the amount of books I read every year, I'm not really making that a goal. I generally tend to read between 100 and 150 every year anyway. So I set my Goodreads challenge as 100. If I hit it, great. If I go over, fantastic. If I don't hit it, it's books. Who cares? Obviously you guys do, but like in the grand scheme of things, if I don't quite read 100 books this year, it's not gonna be the end of the world. We experienced that last year, and we're still here, so it's okay. 5 things I want to focus on in reading all of that are as follows. The first is that I want to read 1 nonfiction book per month. I really do enjoy reading nonfiction, and especially about topics that I really, really love, and there have been so many that have caught my attention in the last few years, I just haven't picked them up. Second goal is that I have a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of ebooks on my Kindle. I subscribe to a bunch of newsletters that send me alerts when books are discounted to like 99 cents, and so I have been going along and hitting buy every so often, like 3 or 4 times a week, and I have like close to 200, 300 books on my Kindle, which I really need to get through. So I think I'm obviously going to try to read more of them, and then maybe even do a couple of challenges like the Clear the Shelves ones that I did last year, that will be dedicated solely to doing more ebooks. Goal number 3 is to have a quarter of all the books I read this year be not sci-fi or fantasy. I, like I said, tend to read 100 books or more every year, and if 25 of those could be not sci-fi fantasy, that would be great. I'm trying to broaden my reading horizons a little bit while still, reading what I want to be reading. Keep up that whole I will read everything thing that I have going on. Goal number 4 is I want to finish all of the series that I started last year, sort of. So there are a couple series like the Powder Mage trilogy that I have 0 intention on completing. Others like the Dresden Files and the Expanse, they're ones that I really want to get to, and I might just do a whole video based on that alone. I usually do pretty well on finishing series anyway. Like, there have been very few series that I've been interested in that I haven't completed. And goal number 5 is to give the popular books that I have tried, DNF'd, or just didn't like another chance. First on this list is The Three-Body Problem. I'm hesitant to kind of promote that one, just because the author has been kind of a shitty person, but I still want to see if I like the book or if I'm just going to use the author as an excuse not to complete it. I don't know, but there are a couple other books that fall in this category. The reason behind all of that is that I reread Gideon the Ninth this past year, fell in love with it, like, oh my god. I am so mad that I never finished it in the first place, and Harrow the Ninth is like blowing my mind right now, and I want to give other books that same opportunity because maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset when I read them the first time. That does it for my January TBR and goals video. Please let me know down below what some of your goals and some of your books that you want to read are for the coming months, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye. I have like literally 30 seconds left.